My wife texted, "I'm going on a work conference for a couple days. Don't wait up." I replied, "Good luck. 24 hours. That's all it took to destroy a 7-year marriage and rebuild my life from the ground up. 24 hours to realize that Diana Collier wasn't the woman I thought I married, and that Ethan Collier, me, wasn't the pushover she assumed I was." The call came at 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. Diana's boss, Margaret Chen, sounded confused. "Ethan, I'm sorry to bother you at work, but is Diana feeling all right? She missed the quarterly review meeting this morning, and she's not answering her phone." I set down my coffee, feeling something cold crawl up my spine. "What quarterly review?" "The one she's been preparing for all month." "The big presentation to the board?" I stared at my computer screen, the code I'd been debugging suddenly meaningless. "Margaret, Diana told me she was at a conference. Out of town." Silence. Then, "Ethan, there's no conference this week." Diana was supposed to be here. That's when I knew. Not suspected. Knew. The way you know when you walk into a dark room and sense someone else breathing. The way you know when you're about to throw up. The way you know when your world is about to collapse. "I see," I said, my voice steady. "Thank you for calling." "Should I?" "I'll handle it." I hung up and sat in my cubicle at TechFlow Solutions, surrounded by the hum of servers and the clicking of keyboards. My coworkers continued their mundane Tuesday, oblivious to the fact that Ethan Collier was experiencing what you might call a revelation. Diana wasn't at a conference. Diana was somewhere else, with someone else. I opened my laptop and began typing. Not code this time, but a different kind of program. One designed to execute a very specific set of functions. I'd always been methodical. It's what made me good at my job, breaking down complex problems into manageable parts, testing each component, debugging until everything worked perfectly. Marriage, I realized, required the same approach. Step 1. Information gathering. I called Diana's phone, straight to voicemail, her cheerful voice. "Hi, you've reached Diana. Leave a message and I'll get back to you." Except she wouldn't. Not to me. Step 2. Cross-reference data. I logged into our shared bank account. 2 charges at the Riverside Hotel downtown. Room service, champagne, yesterday and today. I laughed. Actually laughed out loud, causing Jenkins from accounting to look over with concern. The Riverside Hotel was 15 minutes from our house. Diana was having an affair at a hotel I could see from our bedroom window. Step 3. Execute. I called Peterson & Associates, the law firm that handled our mortgage. "Hi, this is Ethan Collier. I need to schedule a consultation for a divorce filing, today, if possible." "Certainly, Mr. Collier." "We have an opening at 4:30. "Perfect." At 4:45 p.m., I walked out of Peterson & Associates with divorce papers in my briefcase and a clarity I hadn't felt in years. Robert Peterson, a man who looked like he'd seen every variation of human betrayal, had been efficient. "These things happen more than you'd think," he'd said, sliding documents across his mahogany desk. "The key is protecting yourself financially and emotionally. Based on what you've told me, we can move quickly." "How quickly?" 48 hours for initial filing. She'll be served by Friday." I smiled. "What about our joint assets?" "Legally, you have every right to withdraw your portion immediately. I'd recommend doing so tonight." That evening, I transferred $47,000 from our joint account to my personal savings. I left her exactly $500, enough for a taxi home from whatever hotel she was currently occupying. Then I called Margaret Chen. "Margaret, it's Ethan again. I'm afraid I have some uncomfortable news about Diana's absence. I've always believed that the best revenge is simply allowing people to experience the natural consequences of their choices. Diana made her choice. I was simply facilitating the results." By Thursday morning, Diana had been fired. Margaret Chen, it turned out, took a dim view of employees who lied about their whereabouts, especially when those lies coincided with missed presentations to the board. The company had a strict ethics policy about honesty and reliability. Diana's 2-day disappearing act, combined with her refusal to answer calls from her supervisor, constituted grounds for immediate termination. I learned this from Diana's coworker, Jennifer, who called me Thursday afternoon. "Ethan, I'm so sorry. I don't know if Diana's told you, but she was let go today. Something about missing work and not being reachable. Is everything okay? This isn't like her." "Thank you for calling, Jennifer. Diana's dealing with some personal issues right now. I'm sure she'll reach out when she's ready." "Should I try calling her?" "I wouldn't. She needs space to figure things out." That evening, I changed the locks. I also had Diana's belongings packed by a professional service, not out of spite, but out of efficiency. Everything neatly boxed, labeled, and delivered to her parents' house by noon on Friday. Her mother called at 12:47 p.m. "Ethan, what in God's name is happening? Diana's things just showed up here, and she's crying about losing her job. She says you won't answer her calls. Mrs. Patterson, Diana and I are getting divorced. The papers should be served today." Silence. Then, "Divorced? Why? What happened?" "You should ask Diana." I hung up and returned to my code. A new project had come in, a security system for a mid-sized company. The irony wasn't lost on me. Diana came home Friday at 6:23 p.m. I know the exact time because I was watching from my kitchen window when her silver Honda pulled into our driveway. She sat in the car for a full 3 minutes before getting out, moving like someone walking through deep water. She tried her key first, then she knocked, then she pounded. "Ethan! Ethan, I know you're in there! Open the door." I finished making my sandwich, turkey and Swiss on rye, before walking to the front door. "What do you want, Diana?" "What do I want? I want to know why my key doesn't work. I want to know why all my stuff is gone. I want to know why you had me served with divorce papers at my parents' house." Through the door, her voice sounded different, smaller, desperate. "You have your phone," I said. "Check your messages." I did check my messages. 47 calls, Ethan. 47. Then you know why. "I don't know anything. Let me in so we can talk about this like adults." I opened the door, but didn't step aside. Diana looked terrible. Her usually perfect hair was disheveled, her makeup smeared. She was wearing the same clothes from Tuesday morning. "Where were you, Diana?" She blinked. "What?" "Simple question. Where were you for the past 3 days?" "I told you." "The conference." I pulled out my phone and showed her Margaret Chen's number in my call log. "Margaret called Tuesday. Asked why you missed your quarterly review. Asked why you weren't answering your phone." The color drained from Diana's face. "There was no conference, Diana. There never was a conference." She opened her mouth, then closed it. For the first time in 7 years, my wife had nothing to say. "Who is he?" I asked. "Ethan, please." "Let me come inside." "We need to talk." "We're talking now." "The neighbors?" "The neighbors know. I told them you were having personal problems. Very understanding, the Johnsons. Offered to keep an eye on the house while you were away." Diana started crying. Real tears, not the strategic ones she used when she wanted something. "His name," I said again. "Aaron. Aaron Miles." I nodded. I'd already figured that part out. Aaron Miles, financial consultant at Diana's firm. Recently divorced himself. LinkedIn showed he'd been promoted to Diana's team 6 months ago. "How long?" "Ethan." "How long?" 3 months. I felt something shift inside my chest. Not heartbreak. I'd moved past that on Tuesday afternoon. Something colder, more focused. "Thank you for your honesty." Finally. "We can fix this, Ethan. We can go to counseling. I made a mistake, but..." "You made a choice, multiple choices, every text message, every lie, every time you came home and kissed me after being with him. Those were all choices. She reached for me. I stepped back. Your things are at your parents' house. The divorce papers are self-explanatory. You have 48 hours to review them with a lawyer before we proceed. Ethan, please. I love you. No, I said quietly. You don't. If you loved me, you wouldn't have spent 3 days in a hotel with Aaron Miles while lying about a work conference. If you loved me, you wouldn't have missed the most important presentation of your career to play house with another man. If you loved me, Diana, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I closed the door and turned the deadbolt. She pounded for another 10 minutes before driving away. Aaron Miles worked on the 15th floor of the Meridian building downtown. I knew this because I'd spent Friday evening learning everything I could about him. Social media, public records, professional background. Aaron was predictable in the way that confident men often are. Patterns, routines, weaknesses. He drove a red BMW M3, leased, not owned. Lived in a high-rise apartment he couldn't quite afford. Dated frequently according to his Instagram, usually women from work or clients from his gym. Aaron thought he was smart. Aaron was wrong. Saturday morning, I drove to his building and waited. He emerged at 9:47 a.m., dressed for his weekend run. Expensive gear, wireless headphones, the works. He had the satisfied look of a man who'd spent Friday night celebrating his conquest. I followed him to Riverside Park, the same park where Diana and I had our first date 8 years ago. Aaron ran the 3-mile loop, stopped at the coffee cart, then sat on a bench to stretch. That's where I approached him. Aaron Miles? He looked up, squinting against the morning sun. Handsome guy, I had to admit. The kind of jaw that belonged in a cologne commercial. Yeah? I'm Ethan Collier, Diana's husband. His face changed, not fear exactly, calculation. Oh, shit. Yeah, shit. I sat down beside him. He tensed, probably expecting violence. But I've never been a violent man. Violence is inefficient. Relax, Aaron. I'm not here to fight you. Then what? I'm here to thank you. He blinked. Thank me? You showed me who my wife really is. 7 years of marriage, and I never saw it. But you did. In 3 months, you managed to reveal her true character completely. Look, man, I didn't mean for this to happen. It just what? You accidentally spent 3 days in a hotel with my wife? You accidentally helped her lie to her boss and lose her job? Fascinating how these things just happen. Aaron stood up. I should go. You should. But first, you should know that Diana's been fired. Her career in marketing is effectively over in this city. Word travels fast in your industry. What's that got to do with me? Everything. See, Diana made her choice. Now she gets to live with the consequences. But you, Aaron, you still have choices to make. Like what? Like whether you want to support an unemployed woman with significant legal bills and no prospects, or whether you want to cut your losses and move on to your next conquest. I watched him process this. Aaron wasn't stupid, just selfish. Selfish people are predictable. She lied to you too, you know, I continued. About us. About our marriage. Diana has a talent for telling people what they want to hear. What are you saying? I'm saying that in about 6 weeks, when the novelty wears off and reality sets in, you're going to realize that Diana Collier isn't the woman you thought you were, stealing from me. She's the woman who throws away 7-year relationships for 3-month flings. That should concern you. Aaron sat back down. Jesus. Think about it, Aaron. A woman who'll cheat with you will cheat on you. Basic logic. I stood to leave, then paused. Oh, and Aaron? Diana's pregnant. His face went white. Just kidding. But your reaction tells me everything I need to know about your long-term commitment level. Have a good run. Diana called 63 times over the weekend. I know because I counted. I answered none of them, but I listened to every voicemail. The progression was fascinating from a psychological standpoint. Messages 1 to 10. Angry. Demanding I call her back, threatening to come over. Messages 11 to 25. Bargaining. Promises to end things with Aaron, go to counseling, change completely. Messages 26 to 40. Desperate. Crying, begging, offering to sign any kind of agreement. Messages 41 to 55. Angry again. Accusations, blame, threats to take half of everything. Messages 56 to 63. Defeated. Just her crying, saying she was sorry. By Monday morning, she'd moved through all 5 stages of grief and was cycling back through them again. I was debugging a security protocol when my desk phone rang. Ethan, it's Margaret Chen. I hope you don't mind me calling, but I wanted to check on Diana. I feel terrible about having to let her go. That's kind of you, Margaret. Diana's adjusting. I liked her, you know. She did good work when she focused. But the lying, the missed meetings, I couldn't overlook it. Of course not. There's something else. Aaron Miles requested a transfer to our Portland office this morning, effective immediately, seemed quite urgent. I smiled. Did he? Is everything all right, Ethan? Between you and Diana, I mean? We're getting divorced, Margaret. Diana had an affair with Aaron. I assume HR will want to document that for their records, given the workplace implications. Silence. Then, oh my God, I had no idea. Diana's very good at hiding things until she's not. I'm so sorry. Thank you. But honestly, Margaret, you did me a favor. If Diana hadn't been fired for lying about her whereabouts, I might never have discovered the affair. Sometimes the truth has a way of revealing itself. After I hung up, I sat back in my chair and considered the symmetry. Diana's lies had cost her job. Her job loss had revealed her lies. Aaron's cowardice had cost him his relationship with Diana. His transfer to Portland would cost him any chance of reconciliation. Natural consequences, beautiful in their simplicity. My phone buzzed. A text from Diana. Aaron's leaving town. Said he can't handle the drama. Please call me. We need to talk. I deleted the message and returned to my code. Diana was waiting by my car when I left work Tuesday evening. She looked worse than she had on Friday, thinner, hollow-eyed, wearing clothes that hadn't been washed in days. Your office security is surprisingly lax, she said. I told them I was your wife and needed to surprise you for our anniversary. Technically accurate, I suppose. Ethan, please. Just 5 minutes. I clicked my key fob. The car beeped and unlocked. You have until I finish loading my briefcase. Aaron's gone. He transferred to Portland this morning. I heard. Did you know he would leave? I placed my laptop bag in the passenger seat, then turned to face her. Diana, what did you think would happen? Did you imagine Aaron was going to ride off into the sunset with an unemployed woman facing divorce proceedings? Did you think he was looking for a serious relationship with someone who cheats on their husband? He said he loved me. He said whatever he needed to say to get what he wanted. Just like you did with me for 7 years. She flinched. The difference is, I actually meant it when I said I loved you. Aaron was just playing a game. And now that the game's gotten complicated, he's moved on to easier targets. So what now? She asked. You win? You get to be right about everything? This isn't about winning, Diana. This is about consequences. Consequences? You've destroyed my entire life. Something hot flashed behind my ribs. I destroyed your life? I wasn't the one lying for 3 months. I wasn't the one missing work to spend days in hotels with other people. I wasn't the one who threw away a 7-year marriage for a 3-month fling. It wasn't just a fling. Then where is he now? She had no answer for that. Here's what's going to happen, I said, my voice steady. You're going to sign the divorce papers. You're going to take your share of our assets, which, given your recent employment status, you'll need. and you're going to rebuild your life somewhere else, with someone else, using the lessons you've hopefully learned from this experience. And if I don't? Then we'll do this the hard way. Court proceedings, asset disputes, testimony about your affair affecting workplace performance. Your choice. Diana stared at me for a long moment. When did you become so cold? I'm not cold, Diana. I'm clear. For the first time in years, I'm absolutely clear about who you are and who I am and what I want my life to look like. And what's that? Not this. Not us. Not anymore. I got in my car and drove away, leaving her standing in the parking lot. In my rearview mirror, I watched her collapse onto the curb and put her face in her hands. I felt nothing. The divorce was finalized on a Thursday afternoon in February. Diana signed everything without contest. She'd moved to Seattle 2 weeks earlier. A fresh start, she called it. I called it running away, but the result was the same. I kept the house. Diana took half the savings and her car. Clean break, no alimony, no ongoing obligations. Peterson had been right. When both parties want the same outcome, divorce can be surprisingly efficient. That evening, I stood in my kitchen making dinner for one and realized something remarkable. I was happy. Not relieved, not vindicated, not even satisfied. Happy. For the first time in months, maybe years, I felt like myself. Not Diana's husband, not the guy who worked extra hours to support someone else's dreams, not the man who ignored his instincts to keep peace in his marriage. Just Ethan Collier, software developer, homeowner, free man. I opened a beer and walked onto my back patio. February in Ohio is bitter, but the cold felt good against my face. Clean, sharp, real. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Heard about the divorce. Sorry it didn't work out. Hope you're doing okay. Aaron. I stared at the message for a moment, then typed back, Thanks. I'm doing great. Hope Portland's treating you well. His response came quickly. It is. Fresh start, you know? I do know. Take care of yourself, Aaron. You too. I deleted his number and finished my beer. Some people might call what I did to Diana and Aaron revenge. I prefer to think of it as quality control. When you discover a bug in your system, you don't ignore it, you fix it. You remove the corrupted code, patch the vulnerabilities, and run tests to make sure everything works properly. Diana was corrupted code. Aaron was a vulnerability. I patched my system and ran my tests. Everything works perfectly now. Now.